Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come in, come in, come in. So, hey, you guys, this is a review on Games People Play, okay, The Greater Good, Season 2, Episode 10. And this was basically the season finale. If you're finding my channel for the first time, make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, okay? I do reviews, basically recap the shows, tell y'all what went down in the episode, my thoughts and opinions on it, and do some predictions of what I think might happen next. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this episode. So we started out with Marcus, a negotiation. He wants 75 million. He's trying to, see what he could get in his new contract. But at the same time, we know Marcus really doesn't want to be bothered because he basically thinks Eden daddy is trash, and he is. Okay. So Eden's father was like trying to see what he could maneuver with him at first. And at one point, just like we saw in the preview, he's kind of like, I own you or whatever. We were supposed to have a 2-year contract. And then Eden tries to intervene and see if she can talk to him. And she's telling him, that she didn't know about everything else that was going on. And she didn't have anything to do with what her father, was doing. And then, Marcus' attitude is like, how about I go somewhere else? Like, this is not my only option. And I love that about Marcus. I feel like he was the one that caught on the fastest. He's the one that's been like, I'm not selling my soul, you can't buy me and you can't threaten me. I'm not scared of you type of thing. I don't know if it's because they waited so long to bring him into this whole equation as far as him finding out that these was the things they was trying to do. Whereas with Nia, it was like long and prolonged. And then when she got into it, she was damn going crazy. You couldn't stop her. With Layla, she wasn't saying that. With MJ, even with his friend Andre telling him everything, is like, you still acting oblivious. And Marcus is not acting that way. He's on it. Like, find somebody else to play with because you ain't gonna play with me. And as much as he was getting on my nerves when it comes to other things, I appreciate that that's how his attitude is. And so then we see MJ. We see that he's a big influencer. He has 3 million followers now. I'm like, okay, like, apparently being with the organization is working off very well for him. And we have Kareem and Marcus having a conversation because Marcus is trying to give him the update on everything that went down in the meeting and, how it's affecting him and what choices he going to make. And Kareem is kind of like, I hear you, man, but at the end of the day, this is not, problems that I'm used to dealing with. This is rich people problems. And Marcus basically tells him all money is not good money. And again, I like that he's saying that. He's letting it be known, you cannot buy me. I'm not for selling. My soul is not for sale at the end of the day. Okay. And you're not gonna like scare me or threaten me into anything. And so, this makes Kareem realize that if he doesn't renegotiate his contract, he may be out of a damn job too. So he goes and talks to Quenisha, and he's putting her up to date with everything that's going on. And she's like, well, don't worry about it as far as the wedding, because she spoke to Eden, and Eden said, that she was basically going to do it and give them a place. And he's like, well, why would you go do that? Eden and Marcus is not on good terms right now. They not talking. And so, basically, I guess they like, we gonna figure it out, okay? She was like, that's the only 2 friends we have, so we gotta use what we got. And so Nia and Terrence is talking, and apparently Nia got a letter from immigration. And like I said in one of my other videos, until they went on that road trip, I don't think any of us knew that Nia was not from the States. It was like, okay, when the hell did that happen? That's news to me. Because she was basically saying how she was here on a work visa and how she couldn't come out and show, the cops, whatever, when they was being stopped. So basically this letter is saying that if she don't come into the office within 7 days, she could be deported back to Nigeria. Because remember, since the boss fired her, that work visa is invalid. So you have Terrence telling her that there's another way for her to stay in the country if she marries him. And I'm like, really, Terrence? Like, I get it, yeah, her marry him, but that doesn't mean that that's going to get approved either, because they're going to basically investigate that as well and be like, oh, well, how you all of a sudden want to get married so you can stay here, right? If you've been watching 90 Day Fiance, that ain't always as easy as whatever. And not only that, you knowing that she just broke up with, well, not even broke up, she had Eric damn die, suddenly be killed. She done been through all this different craziness. I don't think that's necessarily the answer, and I don't think that this is a situation where he just trying to help her from his heart, because like I said all these time, okay, I still don't trust Terrence. So I'm like, yeah, okay, Terrence, whatever. So then we had Leela talking to MJ and telling him about her, interview she has coming up, and that she's been doing a lot of work with, domestic violence and sexual abuse victims now. And I'm like, go ahead, Leela. I like that look for you. Okay, girl. I like that you didn't let this tear you down and you still out here trying to do something. And then you had Eden talking to her father, discussing, the situation with Marcus and this whole thing, and basically saying, look, I'm sticking by him. Like, at the end of the day, I choose him. I love him. And I'm like, oh, really, Eden? Is that serious? We going there? And so her father was like, oh, really? You love him? He was like, I bet you one thing, if his wife come back in the picture and he had a chance to be with his wife, he would drop you in a hop, skip, and hurry, okay? And I'm like, damn, that was cold. But at the end of the day, I believe it to be true, because I felt like Marcus was only with her for convenience because Vanessa was gone at the end of the day. And so then you had, Quan telling Marcus about Eden doing their wedding, giving her the heads up about it. And he pretty much was cool about it. Like, well, okay, I'm going to do the bachelor party. And so then they let him know that it's going to be a joint bachelor party. And I'm like, really? Seriously? Y'all want to do that? Like, it's your last night before you get married. I would want to have my own. But to each their own. You like it, I love it. And so then they doing the bachelor party, and you got Kareem getting jealous. He's not even enjoying it. He's not trying to, have his own party on the side with his friends. He's not enjoying the strippers or none of that. He's so busy looking at Quenisha and everything that she's doing. He getting more and more upset, just like the night when they went to have, their little whatever sexcapades. And he couldn't really enjoy himself because he worrying about what Quenisha's doing. And it's like, if that's the case, then why even bother doing it? I mean, Quenisha didn't seem bothered at all. She seemed like she could care less what he was doing. She was having a funky good time. But nonetheless, he starts breaking about it and basically calls her by her full name, grabs her off the stage. And Marcus is kind of, try to keep it mellow, like, all right, y'all, calm down. And he was telling Marcus, too, like, don't get up in this. This is between me and her. Let me check this how I want to check it. Let me handle this situation how I want to handle it. And Marcus was like, okay. So he takes her, like, let's go to the back. And in the meantime, he had even called Eden some kind of name too, like, get over there and worry about your little skinny whatever over there. So then Eden comes up to him and, he apologizes for what Kareem said. And she's like, oh, it's okay. I ain't worried about that. And then she basically was like, are you going to stay mad at me? Are you going to stay not talking to me or whatever? And he basically was like, you want to get a drink? And he whispers in her ear like, oh, don't come around me wearing no cute dress like that the next time. And so they somewhat made up. They was laughing about that and they had walked off. So the next scene, we get Kareem and Quenisha basically getting it in the damn bathroom, okay? They going crazy. And Marcus standing out in the hallway, mad awkward. I ain't understand that. I'm like, I thought you was supposed to be off with Eden. And he just looking and listening and, holding his glass in his hand. And there's a couple other people that look like they waiting to go to the bathroom. So I was like, okay, so you're just going to continue to stand out there and wait on them while they doing it. All right. And so in the meantime, Nia and Terrence have been trying to keep figuring out a way to get this, this release, this information, of course, the recording release. And the last plan they had basically have fell through. And so she's then there at the party and MJ is calling her over to him. And he's asking her, can he buy her a drink? And she says whatever she's going to drink and he's ordering his drink. And he's like, I know about the recording and the fact that you're getting it out. And this scene was a little awkward to me, a little bit, because I remember last week it seemed like they was on good terms, like they had talked everything out and made up about everything. But, all of a sudden now it kind of seemed like it was tight and tense. And she was like, well, why would I give it to you? How am I supposed to trust you when you with the foundation? Okay. And then I'm like, I kind of get it, because I still wasn't trusting MJ fully. I wasn't trusting Eden fully. And I damn sure ain't trusting no Terrence fully. But now we kind of have an idea that Eden really do have some type of feelings for Marcus, and that she didn't know what was going on with her father. And so basically, MJ says to her, yeah, I may be with the foundation, but I'm friends with you first, okay? And he's like, give it to me and I will put it out for you. And so I was still looking, trying to, fill it out, and we didn't get to see whether she actually gave him anything or not, right? Then the next thing is the wedding day, and the decorations and the scenery and all of that was beautiful. Even the way they was dressed was beautiful. I ain't gonna lie, they was on point with that. And you had Quinasia in the room getting ready with all her girls around her. And, they asking if she's nervous. She like, no, I'm not nervous because I was ready for this since the damn jungle gym, okay? I always knew that this was supposed to be my husband. And then the one that they did the little menage a trois thing with, she said, yeah, I get it. That's how I felt too. And so Nia kind of was like, I don't mean to be disrespectful. And they was like, anytime somebody say they don't mean to be disrespectful, that's exactly what the hell they do. And she was like, well, I just wanted to ask, like, being as though y'all be having other partners or whatever the case may be, how does that work? And the girl was like, yeah, we may have other partners, but at the end of the day, I'm his number one and he's my number one, and there's no mistake about that. And I was like, hey, if it works for you, it works for you. Like, some of us may think it's weird or strange or whatever, and it may not be my cup of tea. But if that's what, gets you through everything and you okay with it, baby, you like it, I love it. Like, good for you. And so, then you have them all out seated, basically waiting for the wedding party to come out. And Nia is telling MJ and Leah about, Terrence's proposal. And so, Leah's like, you wasn't going to tell us about that? And girl, what you going to do? What did you say? And then he was like, she going to say, hell no. MJ is like interjecting. And then she talking about some, well, no, I don't know. I can't necessarily, I didn't say that because he is a good man and with my situation. So it was like if she was actually considering it. And I'm like, really, Nia? Okay. So then you have them like start blasting the music and you starting to see people coming down the aisle. And what are they playing other than Let's Get Married, the remix by Jagged Edge? I'm like, I know that's right. I wasn't even mad at it. Like, I wouldn't mind going to a wedding and they pumping that. And of course, we talking about Kareem and Quinasia. So if they did something that was boring, that wouldn't even be real to me. Like, we know Quinasia ass is ghetto. Okay, so that was like a perfect fit to me. And then Kareem vows was actually really beautiful. Like, he's talking about you the sun, you the moon, you the stars, you the air I breathe, that type of thing. And his vows might have been like maybe 2 minutes. Here come Quinasia crazy behind. Her damn vows was like 30 seconds. And she talking about some, oh, that's it? And then the preacher was like, that's it? He was like, okay. And so then she goes, oh, and one more thing, I don't do divorces, but I do go to funerals. I said, only Quinasia, okay? And so you have Marcus like sitting on the side out by, the pool or whatever, and he's drinking and just look like he thinking to himself or whatever. And Eden comes over to him like, hey, and then as soon as she sits down, is like, I love you. And I'm like, really, girl? And so he was like, that's some strong words. Like, that's powerful words. And he didn't say it back to her. And I was like, see, because I could remember that episode where he was sitting around talking to his therapist and he was saying how he's so into her. It's all about her now. He don't care nothing about Vanessa no more, but he do still want to know where his daughter is and all this. And I made the comment at that time that no, Marcus, you are lying to yourself and to your therapist, okay? And he was. And I think now he's being more real. I don't know if it also could be because of the whole thing that came out with her father, whatever have you. But he definitely was not in love with her. So that basically showed that. And then, he was telling her that right now, because she said she didn't want to lose him based off her father's decisions or decisions her father made. And he was like, oh, so it was him. And she basically confirmed and said yes. And I appreciate that she was honest with him about that. And then she had basically gave him this paper, but was like, don't open it up until I leave, because he was basically telling her, like, can we talk about this another day? It's been a long day. I really can't do this today. I don't have any more energy left. And she was like, come on now. Don't blame it on being tired. Like, if you tired of me and you don't want to be bothered with me no more, just say that. And he was like, no, I will talk to you, but this is not the time. And so that's when she gave him this paper and was like, don't open it till later. And, I seen this on another show. I can't think of what it was, but that kind of irritates me when you women are saying to these men, and it could be the other way around too, oh, I love you. That was your choice to say that. Yeah, you may feel stupid because you're not hearing it back, but do you really want that person to say it back if they don't mean it? You want them to tell you lies. And if somebody is telling you, like, this is not a good time, this is not a good place for us to talk about this, but we will talk about, whatever later, then leave it at that. Like, why do you have to be so, you need it right now at this minute type of thing or whatever? So she just came off a little weird to me in that minute, but okay. So then you had like Nia basically in her house, and she's seeing that Victor Lazio was arrested. So she calls up MJ like, oh, you did it, MJ, you did it. Victor Lazio was just arrested. And I'm like, oh, shoot, he really did do it. But I'm thinking MJ at least had the sense, if he was saying to her, like, give it to me, I'm thinking he had another way or somebody else that he was going to be giving this to, that if he did put it out there, it was not going to backfire on him or Nia. Because at this point, you're supposed to know all what these people are about. You're supposed to know what Andre warned you of and all of that. Not MJ. MJ sitting in the damn coffee shop or somewhere, and all of a sudden he see people turn around looking at him, and he's like, wait, hold on. He was like, something is happening because everybody's looking at me. And when he checks his phone, just like the guy said, his initiation tape is now going viral to everybody. They done leaked his damn tape. And so you then had Layla walking out, and Rob is following behind her, and he's like, oh, I seen your interview and I see the work you doing on, with abuse victims. And now all of a sudden they got offers for her and they want to put her on another channel and all of that kind of stuff. And Layla basically was like, no, thank you. No, thank you. No, I don't want it. And he was like, we could offer you more money. She was like, no. She was like, I got somewhere else I'm going. I got somebody else that already offered me something. And I was like, I know that's right, Leah. Okay, you know what that's called? That's called growth. Like, I like seeing her get a backbone and have things work out for her on her own terms finally. Okay, after everything that they did to her. That was good. And then MJ is sitting around calling Andre for help, talking about, I thought you loved me. I thought you cared about me. Please, I don't know what to do. Call me. No, boo, he didn't love you. He was a part of the foundation, and he brought you into the foundation. He broke everything down to you exactly how these people were and what it was about, and then you still played stupid. MJ, I really can't even feel sad for you, seriously, because it's like this man told you that he don't care if it's the people that's higher than you. They will bring you down. It's nobody that walks away. He could not have been any clearer than what he was. And so next thing you know, the cops is beating down his damn door. And when he opened it, they basically push him and throw him down on the table. They talking about, so you got any type of stick, something that will stick me? And then he's like, what are y'all doing? What did I do? What did I do? Can't y'all tell I'm being set up? They talking about all these different type of frauds that he got. And he was like, can't you tell they setting me up? They was like, well, tell that to the judge. You know what I'm saying? And they basically took his behind in. So then you had Nia calling up Terrence, asking about MJ. Nobody has been able to, get in touch with him. Nobody knows what happened. They got him locked down. She can't reach him. And he's saying, no, he don't have no information on him. And she was like, oh my God, so what can we do? This daggone Negro gonna turn and get an attitude and switch up. I knew I didn't trust your behind, Terrence. I knew it. Gonna turn and talk about, oh, you could ask me about, MJ, and you can ask me to help you, and you can ask me to help MJ, and you can ask me to help your friends, but you still haven't answered my question about my proposal to you. And she basically telling him, like, listen, you're a nice guy, and I appreciate all the help that you give me and how you help me and what you do for me. Like, I don't want you to think that I don't. But basically, she says what I was saying from the beginning. She was like, I've been through a lot. I lost Eric. It's a lot, and it's really, really fast. She was like, I just don't think that I can do that, and I don't think it would be fair to you. Man, she was still talking about to say something else, and he was like, oh, so you rather be deported than marry me? And homeboy hung up the phone on her while she was still damn talking, picked the phone right back up, and was like, you could go get her now. I'm like, what? I'm like, I knew I didn't trust your raggedy trash ass, Terrence. And if it is a season 3, I hope you get what's coming to your behind, okay? Because you played yourself. And so basically, the next thing you know, we seeing Ice going up inside of the apartment, looking all around for her, whatever have you. And she wasn't even there. So go ahead, Nia. I don't know where you at, girl, but Nia wasn't that stupid. She got her behind up out of there and was not there at all when she made that call. I'm thinking maybe she was on her terrace. No, my boo-boo was gone. Okay, finally she got a damn brain. Okay, I guess she went to the Wiz and asked for a brain, and he told her, you already got it, use it. Because she was nowhere to be found. And they was looking all up and down through the apartment. So now he gonna be mad about that. Okay. And then we ended with Marcus basically calling Eden, and she's like, I knew you wasn't gonna show. And she's basically looked like she was waiting for him at a restaurant. And he's like, yeah, I opened that letter as soon as you left, you know, and I took the first flight out after I opened it. And so basically, you know, you see them like pan back, and you see that he's on the island where originally we saw Vanessa and the daughter at, but we don't see Vanessa there. We just see the daughter. And he thanks her for all she sacrificed. He tells her that he seen that her father was locked up. He was like, we good? She says, yeah. And then he's like, I love you. And she was like, you don't have to say that. Like, yeah, Marcus, why even bother saying that now at this point? Okay. And she tells him she's glad he got his family back. And that was basically how it ended, y'all. I mean, it was okay. It was decent. I'm curious as to whether it's going to come back for a season 3. I wouldn't mind if it did. If it does, I'll be reviewing that as well. You know, unfortunately, we haven't got a lot of answers about some of these shows and whether they're coming back. I know that Our Kind of People in Queens won't be back until January. Our Kind of People has one episode left, which is January 11th, the day after my birthday. Go Capricorns, go Capricorns, go. Now let me stop. And Queens has the 4th, the 11th, and like the 18th or something like that, because they have 11 episodes instead of the usual 10 or 8 we get. And then we don't know if either one of those are getting renewed either. But if they do, then I would be reviewing both of those as well. But anyway, guys, how did y'all like this episode? What did y'all think? Did y'all know that Terrence was trash and think that he was trash all along like me? Did you know that MJ was gonna go out like that? Did you think Nia was in the house? So, you know, are you happy that she was gone? Do you like, you know, the growth that Leela came through with? And I'm assuming Kareem and Quinasia is off happy. Marcus looks happy with his daughter. You know, I don't know what would be next for him. But this would be interesting to see how it would all play out. On one hand, I'm kind of like half and half on how it ended. But tell me all of that in the comments, y'all. And I'll talk to y'all later, okay? Toodaloo. Till next time.